Okay guys, so here's my 3D tumbler tutorial. It is on a live, so I might look kind of funny talking to myself. So I did use a 17-ounce stemless wine tumbler for it. Then here you're gonna see I grabbed my clay and you're gonna knead your clay. Now you wanna knead it to get any air bubbles out or anything like that that is in the clay. Then here are some of the materials and products I use. The white pen is a silicone detail pen. The purples are a 7-piece silicone detail kit from Magic Moon Micas. And that roller is a clay roller that I did get from a craft store. During this fast forward section, all I'm doing is just kneading it. I figured you guys didn't need to sit there and watch me knead the clay. Then, after you're done kneading it, you're going to want to try and flatten it as flat as you can. Doesn't matter the shape that you're going to flatten it at, as long as you get it a pretty good flat. Like I do mine in a circle, it's just preference. And I do use the clay roller to help me flatten it. Alright guys, during this section I'm going to tilt you guys down now so you can look at my work area and get a better view of what I'm actually doing. I'm going to speed up on this section. All I'm doing is flattening that piece out and flattening it as much as I can with my hand. Then once you flatten it to where you want the thickness to be, I do use my roller to flatten it. Those strips are from a previous pineapple I had done, but that is what you're gonna do to get the leaves of the pineapples, is you're gonna, once you flatten it, you're going to want to cut them into strips. Those are probably about 1 to 1.5 inches wide. I'm not sure about the thickness, honestly. The thickness, I would just eyeball it and go from there, from your preference of the thickness. The thicker you make it, the wider you can make the leaves. The thinner you make it, the smaller the leaves will be for it. So again, I'm just going to fast forward a little bit through this section. I'm not doing anything specific. All I'm doing is rolling it into the circle like I had mentioned and flattening it to my preference on how flat that I want the clay to be. So here I'm going to show you the first pineapple that I made throughout the day. I just pulled it out of the oven, so it is really hot, so I am using a towel to hold it. As you can see, and I will show you a little bit better, some of the leaves fell off the way that I placed them on to this one as it was baking. You can, if anything does fall off, normally you can just glue them right back on. You'll see in the video as well, I did change the way that I did the leaves on my second pineapple, as I will show you in the tutorial. And they did end up staying on the cup a lot better, and none of them fell off on the way that I changed the way that I put them on. All I'm doing now is just wiping off a couple things that were on the clay. Those are the strips from the previous cup that I'm showing you right now. And that's about the thickness and the width that I prefer to have them. Again, it's all preference. If you want bigger leaves, make sure you make them a little bit thicker, and if you want smaller leaves, make them thinner. During this section, all I did was grab my clay knife, and now I'm gonna start cutting it into strips for the leaves. You want to try and keep them all about the same width, so that way they'll be preferably around the same size when you apply them to the cup. Now, this is the way that I cut the shapes of my leaves. They basically look like a V, but you're going to want to curve. You're not going to do a straight line V. You are going to want to curve, so that way you get like the dimension of it and it's not just perfectly straight. For this section, I'm gonna fast forward again for you because you are gonna want to cut out multiple, I call them leaves, but it's for the bottom half of the pineapple. So as I cut them out, I also take away the excess clay and put it aside. You don't need to throw the excess clay away because you can reuse it again. So make sure you just put it aside and don't throw it out. Now all I'm doing is just putting them to the side so that I have some more work room to get them onto the cup. I will end up needing more, but this is just for now to get me started. Now, when I do place mine on, I do place them with the tip facing and basically kind of touching the bottom rim of the cup. But however, I don't, and you don't also don't want the tip to go over the bottom rim. Then you're going to push it into the cup so it kind of sticks. And I roll my finger on it. Then also you're going to press your thumb down into the middle of the clay, and you're going to kind of roll it and press it out. When you do that, it is going to spread the clay apart to make that leaf effect. And you can play with it and push it out to the sides more if you want it to be wider. Now you want to slowly make them wider. You don't want to go wide like right away, because then you don't know if that's how wide you like it, and then to make it smaller is a lot harder than making it wider. So that right there is about how I like my leaves to look. And when you place your next one, you're going to do the same exact thing. You're going to put the tip towards the bottom, just like right before the rim, and you can always smooth the tip into it so it doesn't go over it. You're going to want to leave a little bit of a space from the previous leaf that you just pressed down, because when you do press it, it's going to widen and then it will touch the other one. And you want to make sure it does touch the other one, because it will look a lot better than if you leave a space. Now again, you use your thumb, and you're going to want to press the whole thing down, and then you're going to use your thumb in the middle of the leaf to spread it as wide as you want to spread it. Now if you look at it, you can definitely see that I am making that leaf touch the first one that I had already placed. And then you're going to want to make the other side of the leaf somewhat dimensional to the first side. Now you're going to repeat this process onto the whole first row and second and third row of this tumbler. So I'm going to fast forward to the second row for you. So now here I'm going to start on my second row. You're going to want to put the tip of the second row and the rest of the rows from here on out right in the middle of two of the leaves on the bottom. And you're just going to repeat the same exact method on all the rest of the rows that you just did on that first row. You're going to place the tip in the middle just like you did to the bottom, but it's going to be in the middle of the two leaves instead. And you're going to press down on it and then use your thumb in the middle and press down and spread it out into the width that you prefer. Now I'm placing the second leaf on the second row. And again, you're just going to repeat the same exact process as you just did on the first leaf for the second row. Place the tip in the middle of the bottom two leaves and you're going to press down and then use your thumb right in the middle of it to spread it, and make sure that the ends on the first leaf you just placed to the one you're spreading out right now touch each other and that there isn't a gap. And you're going to just repeat that all the way around again. And then you're going to do the same onto the third row and fourth row if you prefer. So I'm going to go ahead and fast forward until I get all these leaves on. So here you'll see I used my last leaf on that last one. So now all I'm doing is cutting out a bunch more. And again, don't forget to save the extra clay that you are cutting off because you are able to reuse it. It's not a waste. Okay guys, I did about 4 rows of the leaves and now I'm going to start working on the top big leaves for the pineapple. This was the first cup I had made. I'm changing the way I put the leaves on for this second cup. I'm going to place them a better way that I feel that they won't fall off, and it'll be easier to color in epoxy as well. So with these leaves, they're bigger, so you're going to want to make them longer than the V short ones that you just made for the roundness of the pineapple. On this part, you're going to see me start to place the green leaf part of the pineapple. And these you're not going to squish down like you did for the main piece of the pineapple. So you're going to, the size that you make them on the width wise is going to be the width that you're basically going to use when it's applied to the cup. The lines that you see on it is for texture, and I like to make it look as realistic as I possibly can. So I am putting the lines on the green leaf section. And you're going to want to do these all the way around the top rim of the cup. I do press down on the top piece to get a little bit of like a seal squish type of thing, I guess you want to call it, so that way when it does go in the oven, it'll have a better adhesion to the tumbler. So I'm going to fast forward through this section as well until I get to the last leaf. I was off camera for a minute just so I could place the leaf onto the cup. Here I just cut out the last leaf that I need for the top of the tumbler. So here I'm just applying the last leaf onto the tumbler. Now that I have everything done, I'm also going to be showing you what they look like, and as you see, I'm just cleaning up some of the lines that I want a little bit better formed on the leaves. And that is what it looks like. Right here is what it looks like out of the oven. All the leaves did stay on, and I didn't have to glue any back on. And this is what it looks like right out of the oven.